Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Winklerverse. I am Bart Winkler. Kevin Holden is with me today. We're gonna reunite after our many years as I don't know. You're my fill-in guy.
As the utility player on the old team.
The old ball club. Kevin used to be a part of it in a role. Got sent down to AAA, came back up for some stints, and he was always there when we needed him. But then what we would do is, you were like one of those pitchers that we knew we were setting you back down, so we'd, make you throw 40 pitches across 2 innings and then send you back down.
Don't
You
you
still
need?
been doing some radio. I saw you in Bill's house.
Oh, dude. Okay, so that was crazy, right? It was just a 2 day thing, but yeah, there I was. Back, there was no video aspect to it, just my the little pictures for Facebook, but I'm completely alone in there, like completely.
Yeah.
The other people involved in making that show happen are not there, so it's just me. So there's you're talking or whatever, and you go for 8 or 10 minutes, and then you say, all right, we'll be back, and you hit the little button, and you're just in silence, like just eerie nothingness. It was weird.
It's weird being at the building,
Yeah,
but
a lot of people there, is there?
nobody,
It's weird.
nobody's here. And then, like, all of these doors have windows at the Odyssey building that I always feel like someone's gonna. Every night, I feel like I'm gonna get someone's gonna be here to hurt me.
Someone who remembers your takes on Jeff Janis and is gonna make you pay now.
Yeah, now's the time to strike. I shouldn't advertise that it's so easy to do that, but uh, such is life. Kevin Holland's got a big day. That's why we wanted to talk to That's why I wanted to talk to him today. Um, on Sunday, I believe it would be the 18th.
Yeah.
Kevin Holden, for a long time, has been calling Brewers Sunday home games on Telemundo, your local neighborhood Telemundo station. He also has been calling the Packers games on your Telemundo station, affiliated with, of course, where he's from, CBS 58. There is a perfect storm, and maybe they scheduled it for you. Quick aside, I had a guy tonight call. He said he's a diehard Arizona Rattlers indoor football league fan. And he had to get married, and he was worried that it was going to be on a day where the Arizona Rattlers played at home because he has never missed a game in 30 years. So he called the league office and said, "Don't schedule a game on." And then they didn't. They listened to him.
Ah, oh my God, that's fantastic.
At least that's the story he told me.
He got him to basically avoid a date so he could go get married.
Yeah, that's what he told me. But you are going to be doing the Brewer game and the Packer game. Obviously, the Packer game's in Denver, so I don't think you can get from AmFam to Denver, but theater of the mind. But you're doing two games in one day, and you're doing it in a second language in Spanish. Good luck, and you must be muy excited.
Ah, that's a direct translation. You've heard us on the broadcast say that, like when they hit a homer, they're like, "We're all muy excited."
Yeah,
Dude, it's well, first of all, we've talked about how bizarro world it is anyway, just to be doing that. You know what I mean? Just to
yeah.
be calling games in a different language. But then when they laid up the schedule, the preseason schedule, and I saw a Sunday game, I thought, okay, now there's no way that they doubled this up, and they absolutely did. They have yeah, it's Brewers Guardians on Sunday at 1, and then Packers Broncos in Denver on Sunday at 7. And yes, we were trying to find a jet, or some sort of teleportation device or something that's going to get us from
Yeah.
AmFam to Mile High, but I think instead we're going to opt for the second game in the plush studios of CBS 58 slash Telemundo, Wisconsin.
Well, you,
The
you can't have it all. I mean, you can't have it all.
And well, and the good thing about that is that's actually it's one of my favorite parts of doing the Packers preseason games. Every year you have new employees, right? And some of them don't know these things are going on. They have no idea that there's a broadcast on Telemundo. And so when the first touchdown happens and we're screaming and yelling, like people come running into the room, like, what's going on in here?
Doing a show, doing a broadcast.
I or we tossed a break at the start of halftime, and I walk like, I don't know, 15 steps from the studio to my desk and
Yeah.
sit down at my desk and like take a little sip of water, a little sip of the Stanley Cup, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Do you need like? I mean, the game will be done at 4. You do the Packer game at 7. I mean, there's pre and post, but do you? You don't need to like. I mean, it's just like you don't need to be. Oh, I got to get in my football shape. If I wake up, I got to be in football mind. Or is it just the prospect of like it's 2 games? Like
That's
when we call these high school games, it's like if you're doing 1 game, that's great. But there were days that McGivern and I would do 3. And even I think back to like when I would ref soccer games and you do like 8 in a day. All I'm ever thinking about is that 8th game. All I'm ever thinking about, like during the game, I can't. So you're gonna have to like not think about that.
Yeah, that's because you're gonna want to conserve, right? Like you have enough energy for 8. I'm trying to come up with enough energy to fill you know, 2 major league games, and I mean, it is still a foreign language, so it's still like, so honestly, if we're being totally honest about it, Packers preseason is the toughest test that I have in that language because, so here's the thing. Third or fourth quarter of a preseason game, most people when they're watching and they're looking out there and Grant Dubose is catching passes and guys from the fifth string of the depth chart are out there. You can kind of like hazy up your mind. You know what I mean? You half watch it, but if you're calling the game, you have to be locked in, right? Like I have to know,
Yeah.
I tell people about Grant Dubose, right? I have to tell people like, where he's from and what his story is. And then you have to do that in a foreign language. And that's the time, like third, fourth quarter of games where you have to like dig for this energy, right? You have to kind of go, okay, don't just sort of drift away here. You got to stay focused. I think that's the biggest thing. You know what I'd love to do is just take like a 30-minute nap, like just come straight home. I live close to work, so I'd come straight home from the ballpark, say at like 4:15 or something, and then just old man it up for about 30 minutes. Just catch the Z's and then get up at 4:45 and act like it's a new day.
That's not a bad strategy. But then what'll happen is the Brewer game will be a long one.
17 innings. And, and we'll have to run from the ballpark back. Like they'll have the studio set up and we'll be running in 10 minutes to air.
Oh my goodness. When did you like learn Spanish?
It was, well, I had a really good high school teacher, like a really good high school teacher. And it's funny because there was never any point ever, even high school or college, where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna broadcast games in this language. Like I took classes in high school. I was pretty good at it, and I said, well, I'll go to college, make it a minor. And
Yeah.
that happened, and then I wanted to be Van Wilder, right? I didn't want to leave. I was ready to graduate, and I wasn't ready to go. So I'm like, well, what if I stayed another year and changed and made it a double major? And it was kind of humorous at the time because I'm like,
You majored in it?
yeah. I've got a broadcast major and a Spanish major.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I mean, it really wasn't anything other than like, it was almost laughable, right? Like I can the statute of limitations is expired. I can say it, right? I there was a few things that I was interested in college, and it wasn't Spanish necessarily.
Oh, you dirty dog.
I
You dirty dog.
Athens, Georgia. Like there's stuff going on, and I was young and I didn't want to go into the real world yet, so I just made it a double major. And I joked like, "Well, this diploma is going right in the drawer." And then all these years later, they when I got the interview for the job, the guy, the news director here at the time said, "Yeah, I see you speak Spanish. We have a Telemundo station here." I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "Hey, can I get just a minute? Can you do like a minute on the air?" And I was working at a station in Florida, and and I was like, "You really want to see that?" So, dude, I put together oh god, it was terrible. It was it was. I just remember Alcides Escobar, oi, or some crazy, like he'd made an error, and I was like having some fun with it. And I remember the next day just dreading that callback because I was going to be like, he is going to pick this phone up and go, "You fraud! What did you?" And I pick it up and I call him. And he goes, "Yeah, I don't understand a word you said. Sounded fine."
Wow. Yeah, like what is he gonna say?
Yeah, I mean,
Do any of your bosses know? Do they even know you're still doing? They could think you're just faking it.
well, this is kind of funny that since we're just spilling tea, right? A couple of years ago, we had a new manager at a different. You have different departments in your
Yeah,
building,
yeah.
whatever. So we had a new manager of a department who saw me doing a Facebook Live with Miguel Ramirez, the anchor at Telemundo. We were something Packers related had happened, and he wanted to do a real fast Facebook Live. So we just did it. It was a couple minutes, whatever. And she sent an email out to like the whole station, and it was the title of the email was, "Did you know Kevin speaks Spanish?"
Everyone's like, "Yep." See,
See,
see.
baseball. So yeah, it still takes people by surprise. I guess I don't know. We don't talk much about it. You just do your work or whatever. So I guess some people didn't know.
So, do you like outside of the broadcasting? Do you talk in Spanish any other place?
It's not real common. I used to, they used to have us
Will
closer
you
to.
watch some games in Spanish sometimes?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially like at the start of a baseball season, because what'll happen is I'll talk Spanish a whole bunch here in August because of the overlap, right? The Packers and Brewers overlap, and then the Brewers season will end, and I'll get rusty. Like I'll do a few things for the newscast, but not a ton, right? And so by the time we get to March, I always get scared. Like, what if I don't remember this? Like
Yeah.
what if eventually I get old enough that it's just gonna, So I'll grab like 3 or 4 games. Obviously the Yankees have one, the Dodgers have one, the Diamondbacks, Marlins, and you can just it's just like anything else. You can just go watch a random game, and I can just hear it. Just they kind of bring it back. But the two things that bring the Spanish to the so like the things that make it work for me, the things that make it where I can speak the language are two things. One of them I can't do at the job, which is to like drinking beer. Like if you it's like anything else, you
You
get
have a couple beers and it's better?
much like
Wow.
yeah you're less afraid to mess up. It's just like anything else, right? That inhibition goes away. And then the other one's coffee, and so that's how it works. Is that like American Family Field? They joke them on Sundays because I'm just like emptying out that coffee. They have that coffee dispenser in the room, and I'm in there like shaking it, trying to get the last couple drops out on a Sunday. They're like, "Yep, it's doing Spanish today."
Man. My kid is 5. He went to daycare, to Spanish immersion daycare.
Oh, really?
And he's gonna graduate here in a couple weeks and then go to real school. But one of the parents and other parents like, have you talked to your kid about the teachers at the new school? I go, what do you mean? He go, they speak in English. Your kid is used these they speak to him in Spanish all day. Now he doesn't come home and like speak Spanish. He might sing some songs, but he knows he can hear and react in Spanish at age 5. And so can you tutor him?
Oh, sure. If you want me to teach him, caught stealing and hit and run, and I can teach him all the baseball terms.
Because I got to find a way. He's got to like, I can't have him lose that,
No, and
especially with those sponge brains.
right, they pick it up at that age, right? Like it's so much easier.
Like me, I have restarted and restopped Duolingo more times. I just got an email. I honestly just got an email from Duolingo that was like, "Congratulations, you've been with us for 13 years." And I'm like, the hell if I have.
Oh,
I may have downloaded you 13 years ago. I've probably done it a total of 13 days. I'm still on like manzana and la pan for bread.
yep.
I'm not any further than that section.
You can order a snack.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah, like this is a weird like offshoot of this, but talking about like the language capacity and age and so on. My aunt got me for, I think I was like 5 or 6, and she bought me French. Like it was a French tutoring thing. Now this is how old I am. There were records.
Wow.
That's so that there's old man talking right there, but they were records, right? And so I can remember like these lessons. Like the French didn't stick with me, but the things they were saying did, right? Like I can still hear the voices in that thing. And I don't know if that like paved the way, if French somehow paved the way for Spanish or whatever, but I it's just kind of funny to me that I would I would think that she was trying to further my educational whatever. Then I also wonder if she like just one day was just like, oh, I got to get him a birthday present. Crap, let's find something.
He speaks Spanish. Is French close enough?
No, why not?
Or maybe
But
she got confused. Didn't
well,
remember which one you could speak.
so and for me, like I said, I didn't speak a word of it till 10th grade, not a word. And so then I got in a program in Tennessee. Like so we lived in Georgia growing up, and then we moved to Memphis, Tennessee, very briefly. My dad got a job in Memphis for like 8 months, and I started in the Tennessee program. And I don't know if you know this, but they have the states are different in how they teach the language. So in Georgia, it was about conversation. It was about
Oh, okay.
speaking, like getting the right accent, speaking the words. Tennessee, it was just vocabulary. Like the first 6 months that I knew Spanish, they were just cramming vocabulary down my throat. This word, this word, this word, this word. So when we moved back, when my dad, that job didn't work out in Memphis, and we moved back to Atlanta, and I got into Spanish 1 class in high school there, I knew all this vocabulary that nobody else knew because their curriculum was different. They didn't teach it that way. And so they thought I was smart. I just didn't teach them. I didn't tell them otherwise.
So many people that like come to America say they learn it from watching TV, English from watching TV. I don't, but when I listen to Spanish, like sometimes I'll, in the World Cup or whatever, I'll throw a game on and I'm not picking up anything. I can't understand a word.
Yeah, it's
With
bad.
English, maybe it's more like chunky kind of word you say.
It's there in English there are 3 levels. This is what we were taught. There are 3 levels of inflection in English in a standard sentence. Like there, you know what I mean? There's three levels of how hard you hit like a syllable. And in Spanish there are only 2. So basically you either, it's either a syllable or it's one with that accent on it, right? So that's all you have. So it's compressed already then. And in Spanish, you express excitement instead of raising your voice. You express it by talking faster. That's the Spanish term for like or how you express like when something exciting. Which is why, the words leading up to a goal in soccer are fantastic, right? Because they're like 2,000 miles an hour, and then
Yeah.
but it's almost impossible. Like the English speaking ear it has all kinds of trouble processing. I still like have that problem. Like we'll watch Valencia. We like Valencia, my wife and I do, Spanish soccer team, and we'll watch them, and especially when they get going, I'm like, oh, they're a little ahead of me here.
Driving too fast on this highway for me.
Oh, but yeah, totally wild, man. That it's 2 very different uh, styles of language, different approaches. But it's wild to, like I said, to switch back and forth is kind of a crazy thing, but it's going to happen for a whole bunch of hours Sunday.
I've been calling the Packer game at night. It's fun and having that experience. But I just think you doing the repeated Sunday Brewers, like, and it's a nice like, we get in these jobs and it's a dream job. But then just like with like, I don't know, you mentioned beer before, just like with beer, it's like, when you're younger, 2 beers will do the trick. When you're older, it might be 12 beers. To still on Sundays be able to walk into a big league ballpark and do real life play by play. I just think that's got to be like a nice pep in your step.
It's one of those things where, especially like early on in a year, the first 2 or 3 games when we step in there, that dream come true thing is still, it still happens, right? You sit down and it's me and it's Jaime, the color guy, and Bronco, the producer. There's an engineer in the back, and all the equipment is set up, and you're, a couple of minutes to air, and you're just sitting there looking out at the ballpark, and you're like, this is what I do today. I would have done this for $0 over in the stands. You know what I mean? I would have, like, in English, we would have talked about the game all day anyway. So we get to do it. We just toss to commercials after each half inning, and all the research that's there and available, and yeah, you get this momentum, and it's pretty wild. Like, August is my favorite time for the Spanish stuff because of both things going on. This past week, the Packers preseason opener was a Saturday night, and then the Brewers were Sunday. So I had 2 games, not the same day, but Saturday night, Sunday early afternoon. And when we started Sunday early afternoon on the Brewers broadcast, man, it was going, right? Because your brain was recently going through that for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So as soon as it went back to it, I like Jaime kind of looked at me like, wow, somebody had their Wheaties today, because I came in just like talking all kinds of craziness, about the Brewers and the win streak that they had and all the things that they're trying to chase down and whatever. And Jaime's like, look, we're in pregame, dude. Don't shoot everything.
Can you get to a place where when you're talking Spanish, you're not thinking of what you're saying in English?
In the games, it'll happen in the games. It's you got 2 guys side by side, like, me and Jaime, let's say, in the pregame, and if he's saying something and you want to respond to it, right, you want to play off him, that almost always happens in English first in my mind, and I have to, like, take it and then unravel it right into Spanish. But during the game, like, when there's action and you're describing the action, there's nothing, more like you're locked into this one thing that you're doing. That's when it happens. That's when the flow happens, actually, in that language. There's no English, I think, when we're calling games, unless I get tripped up on a word, which happens. And
Wasn't that a good question by me?
that was, yeah, you got in here a little bit. But it's true, right? Like, you do it enough and you start thinking that way. But if the coffee starts wearing off, then it gets bad.
Well, the other thing that I remember you saying is like, yeah, I learned Spanish. I can speak Spanish, but then I have to learn like baseball terminology, like turn 2 or, just any kind of stuff like that. And then that's like a whole nother subsection you're bringing on.
So I was just looking over here. I was wondering if I still had the flashcards. So the story goes that I started here at CBS 58 in like September of 2009, and I don't know, a month in, or a couple months in, I did a little something for Telemundo, just like a 1-minute sports thing that was taped. It was nothing. And the news director came in at that time and he said, we do these Brewers games in Spanish. I'm like, you what now? He's like, yeah, we do this. You want to do it? And I'm like, okay, look, it's November or whatever it is, and today there is 0 chance that I would have the terminology down, but I will guarantee you by April I will have it. So I made like 200 note cards with, on one side double play and the other side doble matanza, like doing the whole thing. And every day all winter I go through the flashcards.
How deep do you go? Do you do like can of corn and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, because there
Ducks
are
on the pond.
ducks on the pond. Because you know how it is. Those are idiomatic expressions, and they have them in Spanish too. But they usually they're different, right? Like the words are different. Because that really doesn't have, like, the word ducks on the pond. Literally, it doesn't have much meaning, but we know what it means, right? Like in Spanish, that in English we have something that costs an arm and a leg, right? The Spanish version of that is that something that costs an eye of the face. That's their version of that phrase.
Okay, but so if you said arm and leg in Spanish, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what that means. They're like, what is that about? But if I said, oh, yeah, that's crazy. That would cost an eye of the face. Oh yeah. Like it hits home. So you have to. It's not
God.
word for word translation. Sometimes you have to play with the phraseology a little bit. I wonder if those note cards. Yeah, whatever.
Well, tell you what, I think I'm taking my kid to that game on Sunday.
Yes.
And so then I'm going to tape the game on Telemundo and we'll come back and watch it. And
Dude,
maybe we'll watch the Packers Telemundo too and see if he can pick up on it.
that'd be fantastic. Well, and you have, like, to me, the thing for English speakers, and a ton of the people that watch us are English speakers, right? Like, it's the novelty of it, plus the fact that it's available over the air. Um, you don't have to have like 4 apps, and you don't have to watch Bally freeze up every 13 seconds. It's kind of nice. Um,
Oh,
it
I think that's the meanest thing I've ever heard you say.
Isn't it true though?
I don't think I've ever heard you say anything remotely mean.
But that's dealing with that all through the years, right? Cutting highlights like, oh look, it froze in the middle of the play, and then the next thing you see is a dude standing on first. Like, but that, we have a lot of English speakers that watch, um, and you know, that's the novelty of that whole thing. I was going somewhere with that, and I've lost it now.
No, it's fine. It's a good English speakers watch the games.
They do. We get a lot of, like, people that don't have cable or whatever. They just that's what they do. So there's, it's a different kind of audience, right? Like, there's a bar owner around the corner from me here who just is infatuated with this whole Spanish thing, right? And he keeps telling me, Holden, you're gonna go be the Spanish voice of the Dodgers. I'm like, okay, look, there's a couple of things here.
Yeah. Just
that-
a couple.
yeah.
Hey, reach for the stars.
I mean, I appreciate the support. He's trying to be nice, but the Spanish voice of the it'd be like somebody saying, after you call those high school games, you should go take Vince Scully's job.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I'll go do that.
Yeah. Hey, Bart, good job calling Cutter Moraine Lutheran. You want to do the AFC divisional round? Well, yeah, I do, but I can't.
The guys that think that Buck and Aikman are terrible, they're like, hey, just go take their place.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into a booth and open the door. All right, I'm here. Let's do the game.
Freeze and then die. Well, mucho gracias. Very excited for the games on Sunday. Very excited about the day for you. And just wanted to also catch up and say hi and miss you.
Man, I miss you too, Bart. We, obviously our schedules kind of put us together for a couple of years, and we had a blast. We hadn't had a chance to do that. We got to get together.
Well, I dogged Shay last time he wanted me to come out, so next time I'll come out.
Whoa. Well, Shay earned every bit of it. Was he whistling a fight song of a school? Because that's his thing after a couple pops.
Tim Shea will text me to come out on like a Friday, and he makes me say no to him 7 times. Come out. I can't tonight, bud. I really want to, but just do it. Please, for me. I'll buy you a drink. I'll buy you 2 drinks. I need you here. Jesus, Tim.
He's desperate. It's his day job's getting to him, isn't it?
Oh, those are some hours, man. Those are some hours.
30 in the morning, and you know how it is, because we're second. At least I'm a second shifter, so I'm up late enough that a lot of times I'll text him when he first gets to work, and he doesn't like that too much.
No.
No.
Well, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, Bart. What a blast, man. This is like old times.
For the people that know, we recorded this at 1:40 in the morning.
Yep, it's prime time. I am a vampire without a doubt. I am a creature of the night.
I don't get enough sleep.
Ditto.
Kevin Holden, thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, Bart.
Thanks to Kevin Holden. What a guy. CBS 58, Telemundo, calling the Brewers and the Packers this weekend. Hey, a reminder, I want to remind you, happyplacehemp.com. The promo code is BART, 25% off each and every order. You're talking about the gummies, the tinctures, the balms, the lotion, whatever you need to help feel better on your body. The lotions, the CBDs, they work. It has for me. And at the age of 40 now, sometimes weird things just happen, and you're like, I don't know what this is. Little rubby my dubby, scrub a baboo, and it feels better. So got some more of that. Picked up some more CBD CBNs for nighttime, which Shay, I do have a bottle for you, or a tin, or a cup, or I don't case. No, they're, you know what I mean. Anyway, you can get all this, the THC seltzers as well. You can get all of this and more at happyplacehemp.com. Promo code is BART for 25% off every order and free shipping on most cases. 25% off with the promo code BART at happyplacehemp.com. Since we're sort of talking tangentially the Brewers, I do want to quickly fill out this survey. The Brewers did a fan survey. I always find it's a nice radio bit to fill out surveys live on air. I never get reaction to it because I don't think it is. I think it is something that I like to do. I used to do stuff like this all the time on 1250, but I don't know. It seemed like people did not give a shit. But I'm filling out this fan survey, so I'm going to continue to do that to wrap up this pod today. The Brewers, we get this fan survey, right? A lot of people did. They want me to tell them, what do I enjoy most about attending the ballpark? Obviously, the answer to that is other. I love how much parking there is. I love to just go into the lot on non-game days and drive around fast. So that is the truth. That's something I do like to do with the Brewers. Who do I go to the games with? One other person, my friend Tim Shea. With whom do I? Other, like I said, Tim Shea. What do I take? Oh, I take, I don't know. I'll just put car because I love to park. What type of seating do I enjoy? I'm going to say suites. They'll think I'm a big deal and they might pay more attention to my my survey. If I click on things like, yes, I want to host, I want to do company-wide events, I want to order 200 tickets. I'm saying all these things, so maybe they think that I'm a big fan. Now I'm going to put extremely dissatisfied for all of these different things. And this is going to take a while. I want to get to the good part, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and get to the good part of this because this survey is already way too fucking long. All right. I just filled out a bunch of questions about how much I love the parking. Now they're talking about different concepts. Concept one, adding a family zone. I would be extremely interested. We're going to go Sunday, and my kid's going to run on that thing, go up that shitty slide, and then sit on a Bernie. They need more. They need more. They definitely need more. One would be on the terrace level. No, I hate the terrace level. I never want to go up there again. Lowe's infield's fine. If I never go up to the terrace level again, except to poop, which is great, especially on game days, like day games. Would I pay $30 for a ticket with access to the family zone? No. $20? No. 15? No, it's got to be included in the ticket. Concept two, Brewers Bash. A live entertainment outside the ballpark. Would I visit the Brewers Bash? This event would take place every weekend throughout the year. Yes, you should have done this 15 years ago. Are they really thinking? Who's going to say no to this stuff? What is the point of this survey? Does Rick Schlesinger know that this survey exists? I feel like some of these employees are trying to convince Rick that people want more than just surface lots and they have to go to a survey. Premium parking. Oh, fuck yeah. I don't want to walk. I don't want to walk. I'm just trying to get to more of these concepts. Would you pay $70 a game for a premium parking pass? Is this a fucking joke? Now the survey's making me mad. No, oh my God, year-round social membership? Why don't they just do all these things? I'm done. I'm quitting the survey. I thought I'd get a little more juice out of that bit. That's terrible. What a mad survey. And I think it's long on purpose. Because how many people actually fill out that whole thing? You want to give me an hour so I could possibly win a Christian Yelich autograph? Like I can't go on eBay and get 9,000 of those? I mean, what are we doing? I'm about to give them a piece of my mind. I'm gonna spend an hour writing to the Brewers about how long I think their survey was. There are autographs of Christian Yelich like you would not believe. All right. Well, that'll wrap this up because, as I said, I talked to Kevin Holden after one of my shows, and it's now 2 a.m, and this is absurd. But I love you all. Thank you for listening. Please enjoy Kevin Holden. Welcome back into the Winklerverse.